of kids like growing up would like try to like experiment with other sports. And the only other sport that really like interested me was football. I mean, growing up in Texas and stuff like that, my parents never let me play. So I really only just played basketball. I mean, I think I played soccer like 1 year, but basketball is all I really wanted to play, honestly. Middle school is when like I started to take basketball more seriously with like getting a trainer, like going, like branching out from like my local area to like go to different workouts and stuff like that. And so through that, you start to see like some of the big time players in the area, like the best players in high school. And at first it's like, wow, like this seems so far ahead. Like I'm just like I'm still a kid. But I would say the turning point was when I realized like I could play with them was probably like 9th, 10th grade. And I feel like it was around that time where I kind of like committed to like, all right, I'm going to try to really lock in and make the most out of this and hopefully play at the next level. So yeah, I would say probably early high school is when I realized it could be more than just a hobby. The challenge growing up was always like confidence in my game. I feel like I would put the work in, and I was willing to listen. I was willing to take criticism, all that type of stuff. But when it would come time to like get on the court and go head to head with someone that, you know, maybe have like a bigger name, or, you know, people might say like he's better than me on paper or whatever, like I feel like it would be hard for me to really be my best self and just do what I do on the court. I feel like I would kind of like shy away from the moment a little bit, like maybe like defer to my teammates a little too much. But I feel like I've gotten a lot better at that. I got a lot better at that towards the end of my high school career and once I got to college. But yeah, that was definitely like an initial challenge that like, you know, my parents definitely tried to like get me to overcome. I'm an all-around player, but my strengths are probably in like creating plays on the offensive end of the floor, whether that's off the ball, with the ball in my hands, making passes, and then I think shooting obviously is like a huge part of my game. Yeah, I feel like I'm just a really, really efficient decision maker, make any shot. And yeah, I feel like I don't really like try to do too much, like keep the dribbles to a minimum. If I don't have anything, get off the ball and let my teammates make the next decision. So yeah, I would say those are probably my calling cards as a player. Once I start getting hot, nothing's really going through my mind. The only thing is like, just keep going, keep making plays. Let's build, whether we're down, like it's like, let's keep this run going, or whether we're up, it's like, let's extend the lead, whatever the case may be. I would say like in that moment though, not really thinking about much, just like, let my instincts take over and, you know, make the right play. Playing at Williams College is probably my most enjoyable like basketball experience like I've had in my life so far. And I would say it really just starts with the culture and our coaches, and then the guys in the locker room. Like from day one, like when I stepped foot on our campus, like there's just nothing but like great energy. Guys are always just like so inclusive, and I feel like it was really a huge part in like my personal growth, just like off the court as well. Like I would say like getting out of my shell a little bit, you know, just not being like the guys on the team were never like, they never made it hard for me to be myself. And so I would just say like on the court, it's been good. Like we didn't have the season we wanted to this year, but we've had success previous years, made it to the tournament. And then off the court, I would say is honestly like that's what I'm really most happy about, like my growth as a person. A typical day in the life is I'll wake up, and depending on if my classes are like later or earlier, like if it's later, I'll try to get a workout in before class with one of the assistant coaches, just, you know, staying sharp, improving on things I needed to improve on, whether that's from the last game or just whatever the case may be. And then go to class, and I'm sure you can attest to this, like having like a bunch of other hobbies and stuff, like anytime there's a pocket in the day to get some work done, like making the most of my time, like going to the library, this hour, 2 hours working on like a problem set or whatever. And then we'll have practice at 4, and it'll go to like 5:30, 6. And then sometimes like I'll go to the training room, get some treatment done. And then after that, TA sessions, office hour. Well, at that point of the day, it's not office hours, but TA sessions, library, all of that. So it's a full day of like being a student athlete, I would say. I definitely like try to stay in the weight room a lot, because what I learned about my body in like high school, and honestly like maybe like my freshman sophomore year here as well, is like if you're not staying in the weight room, you're not eating, like if you're playing a lot too, like your body's gonna like break down a little bit like as the season goes on. So just like trying to really maintain the gains you make in the summer and the fall, I think is really important for me. So in the season, like anytime I can just get like even like a little like 15 to 20 minute lift in, I think like that goes a long way towards recovery and just like staying strong. And then in terms of on the court, I try to like keep it like shorter during the season, but when I'm in there, like make sure I'm going hard, and all the stuff I'm doing like in the court is stuff that like I'm gonna see in the game, like stuff that like has a purpose. So whether we have like certain options out of a play or something like that, just really like drilling all of them, making sure that when I do get into the game and I see like a certain coverage or something that triggers me to do something, like I've done that before in the practice in the gym, like by myself. So there's no thinking or no doubt when it comes game time. So I would say that's kind of like my philosophy when it comes to training in season. I actually just had my like postseason meeting with Coach App, and some of the things that we talked about were, one, just like becoming like, I wouldn't say like becoming, but just being like being a more capable passer. Like, because a lot of times, especially now, like as I'm becoming like a better player, the teams are gonna like scout me and really bring a lot of attention to me. So that means two guys come up and stop me, like get off the ball quick and let my teammates get that 4-on-3 and make a play out of that. Then one thing we emphasize like down the stretch is just like really like hunting shots like on the perimeter, like being shot ready. Like the guy's hands down on the catch, like it's going up. So like that's definitely something I want to work on next year. It's just like trying to get in that mode from the perimeter, get hot a little bit more. It's a simple way to get going, create space. And then I would say also on the defensive side, like being a little bit more disruptive. Like I feel like a lot of times this season I was more so just playing defense, like make sure I'm in the right spot, don't let the guy beat me. But I feel like the next step for me is really like pressuring the ball or like getting steals or using my like IQ like to jump in the passing lane. So I feel like I want to be a little bit more of a pest on that end. So yeah, I mean I could go on and on, but I would say those are like three of the things that I'm working on right now. The last 2 seasons we made it to the NCAA tournament and we hosted the conference tournament. So we did well in the NESCAC. That was never like really an issue. But this year I think we went 4-6 in the NESCAC, and we kind of like barely squeaked into the tournament. And yeah, we ended up losing. I mean, I'm sitting here right now and we ended up losing, but even though we didn't achieve any of like the goals that we wanted to achieve, it's not like a total failure in the sense that like we learned a lot. We had a lot of young players, a lot of like also older players stepping into bigger roles, and sometimes like you're not going to have your program's not going to have a winning year every year. So it really depends on, like, we'll see next year, like if this year is really a failure or success or not. Because if we do what we're supposed to do next year, then like I'd like to think that this season meant that it was a necessary step for us to get to where we want to get in the long run. The main source of motivation is just like the fact that we set these super high goals and we just weren't able to achieve them. We have to sit back and watch other teams that we played, like whether it's Wesleyan, Tufts, Trinity, Hamilton, like we have to sit back and watch them play in the tournament while we're like, maybe like we could have stopped them from getting there. Well, maybe not stopped them from getting there, but like that could have been us had we handled business against them. So yeah, that definitely stings a little bit. And then I would say for me, the motivation is really like, I only get so many games with like these guys who I call my brothers, and you really want to get in those big time games, play under the bright lights with them. So like not being able to do that with like my seniors that who are graduating this year, it really hurt, because those moments, like you look back on 10, 20 years, like, I mean, that's why you play, like that's why you train. So like not being able to get to those moments with your brothers is really something that motivates me. And like next year is my last year, so like how do I want to go out? So that's really what's motivating me right now.